Welcome back to the Black Ibis Social Club. Hey, tonight's kind of a weird start. It's going to be me. Fisto's decided to not show up. Actually, that's not true. Fisto's here. He's in the ether. He's in the cyberspace. But I got a guest tonight, Mr. Jasper Ceylon. He's a poet, editor, writer, some kind of a young degenerate of some sort. He's friends with our last guest, Mr. Noah, maybe. I don't know. I think that's who introduced me to him. But he's dropping by to talk about his work, and Fisto should join us sometime later. So, what's up, Jasper?
Hey man, how's it going?
Oh, welcome, man. I'm glad you joined us. Looking forward to having a quick chat with you tonight. Besides the introductions and everything, let me think of what's going on in the world that I want to mention in today's episode. Nothing interesting. Well, actually, Val Kilmer passed away yesterday.
Oh shit, eh?
Yeah, did you hear that?
Ah, I did not.
The Iceman, Doc
Damn.
Holliday,
Yeah, yeah.
he was a good actor. He was in Heat. Heat was a fucking fantastic movie that I really enjoyed when I saw it multiple times. Right? All right, Jasper. So you're a poet, man. You're a poet and an editor, and you took over for Noah at Ube Press, right? Tell
Yeah,
me about yourself a little bit. Introduce yourself.
cool. Yeah, so I've been a poet under, let's say, a few different names for maybe about 6 years. And I've fiddled around in everything like minimalism to free verse to super traditional this or that forms, as you do. But I guess the when I made the move to free verse, I started really keeping tabs on the industry, and I'm like, wow, this is fucked. Like these guys are, what are they doing? So like I started getting into magazines and all that sort of stuff, but I came up across a few barriers, let's say.
Hmm.
Like I knew I could get into decent magazines, but whenever I tried to sort of hit the sort of upper echelon, let's say, yeah, I'd run into a few different roadblocks. And so I kept working away at all that sort of stuff, but then kind of gradually came up with the plan for Ecolalia Review. And then I hooked up with Noah there, found him on Chill Subs. Uh, and I figured I'm like, this is just too hot for certain presses. They don't want the flack from this. So let me reach out
Right.
to someone who seems to like, get internet culture and isn't afraid to take chances and stuff. So I sent it over to him. He was super impressed with it. He described me as Ezra Pound if you're a Discord user, which I thought was really funny.
All right. I mean, look, that's a great compliment, and I hope that all the listeners. Oh, you know what? I have faith deep down in my soulless self that our listeners know who Ezra Pound is. So, I mean, we don't have to talk about Ezra Pound. Well,
Yeah, yeah.
what phase? Like pre World War II Ezra Pound, or full blown schizoid post World War II imprisoned Ezra Pound on Discord?
Oh, yeah, no, that's a good question. I mean, like, I feel like I'm still at this point put together enough where I'm not post World War II him yet. But like, if something really bad happens, I think we're going in that direction. But
Right, right. So based on we'll talk about ecolalia in a bit, but um, so what would you describe your what would your poetry fit in? Using your own chart in the in the magazine there, Gen Alpha Betas, right?
yeah, yeah, some of those charts were just or the movements I predicted were just absolutely fucked. In terms of, I did actually insert myself into one of them, but it's blacked out because I thought, well, I don't want to dox myself just yet.
Okay.
So I think it's the pre, post irony.
Ironism.
Yeah,
Yeah, I saw
yeah. I
that.
think that's where I fit in at this point. But
I thought you were a dirt hog sauvage.
oh yeah, yeah, yeah. Dirt hog.
We'll talk about this later, guys. You guys have no idea what the fuck we're talking about, but I'm laughing about it. All right. But I mean, or maybe Guamanian Centrofuturism. I've been to Guam, so I've met some Guamanian Centrofuturists, right?
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
They're hanging out around outside of a barber shop smoking weed. There's some good poetry. Um, so okay, now so I'm gonna approach the conversation about contemporary poetry from the perspective of a Philistine, just a complete and total savage outside it. Is there a poetry scene right now? Does it exist? Is poetry something that people write or read at all? Does it exist, or is it like classical music where some certain people are into it, but so it's not a mainstream thing anymore?
Yeah, that's something that I had to confront when I was getting into the industry because I didn't really know if people were really, I guess, even writing poetry anymore, or reading it. So I guess in my research and experience, I've found that yes, people are definitely still reading it and writing it. In fact, too many people are writing it, I would argue.
That's all. That's
Um,
all writing, unfortunately, right now.
yeah, like we've hit a real point of saturation, oversaturation, even with poetry in particular. Now, obviously, I don't want for poetry to just go away. I don't want to have no one reading it or writing it, but I think predominantly the sort of easy Instagram poetry style that you see from Rupi Kaur and all those types has kind of become the predominant mode.
Like
Um,
Atticus.
yeah, 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 perfect example. So guys like Atticus and Lang Leav or whatever. Um, and I mean, I even at one point allegedly, I don't want to dox myself, but I say it in the collection. I had an Instagram where I sort of parodied those styles, but for guys. Uh, but
So
then
you
that shit,
did you
yeah,
like post like black and white pictures of like a bowl of like a ice or something like that, and fucking write a haiku about dipping your face in it or something, or your balls or something? Because that's all
yeah,
that's all that shit. It's like a black and white picture of some bitch in a pool or something, and then like some like extra sappy shit.
yeah, no, it was exactly that, and I was just writing the dumbest fucking shit you could to see if like people would find it funny or if they would like unironically like it. And they did. Like that stuff took off way faster than anything else I'd been doing like on the serious end of things. So in Echo, I put like a collection of, I guess, some of the most popular ones in there. So that's why you have that sort of Insta poetry corner section of it. But yeah, all those were like popular online, so I illustrated them and all that shit in different styles. But that I would say gets the most traction. Like you can gain like I don't know, fucking 50,000 followers still on Instagram, just pumping out the most generic, like mind-numbing guff. And I've seen people do it. I've met people, like writers groups that I went to and ones that I ran and all that shit, who would come in with like 70,000 followers, and I'd look up their shit and be like, "You're barely literate." Like, what?
And shit like period, like pomegranate seeds or something like
Yeah.
that. I mean, the greatest poetry book I own, actually, I have it somewhere here in my room, is um, what's her name? Lana Del Rey's poetry book. I don't know if you're familiar with it.
Oh shit, I heard about it. I haven't read it though.
It's awful, dude. It's one of the worst fucking things I've ever read. And I love Lana Del Rey, but
Yeah.
it's Instagram poetry. She definitely needs to stick to writing songs about Lolita. That's her lane right there. But yeah. I knew a poet once when I was in my 20s, well, early 20s. He was a very stereotypical poet. This is in Los Angeles, and he was a dude. So okay, my friend group, we were all in our early 20s. Maybe I was 21 or something, and this guy was in his mid 30s, the kind of guy with like long hair, but fighting the receding hairline a bit. He used to wear like the tan leather trench coats, and he's always trying to sleep with like 19-year-old girls the whole time. And he was a character, man. He was like the stereotype of like that poetry dork, like in the coffee shop, but fucking Friends episode, just always writing poetry and talking about Byron and shit and Shelley, and I'm just like, oh, like, dude. Of course he was a teacher, so
Yeah.
it was extra, That's what I usually think about, when I think about poetry, unfortunately, But no, without in the real talk, what you're obviously into poetry and you think that it's a worthwhile art form, which I agree with you if you agree with it, what are your inspirations? What do you think is good stuff out there?
Yeah, so like it's tough because I run into people like the guy you mentioned all the time. And like their heart's in it, like they really like poetry and they tend to like gravitate to the older poets, the romantics and such. Um and that's why I did the worst of issue one was like a Shelley inspired one because they
Right, I
fucking
saw
hate
one.
that.
I saw that one,
Yeah, like they hate that in contemporary poetry for sure. So like there's been a real bifurcation basically between the traditionalists, like probably that guy was, and the fake dude that I put in the magazine, where they just like want to write in fixed meter and they don't want poetry to really move on.
Right,
And then there's the sort of contemporary poets who have moved on, let's say, too far, and they've just split off in so many different directions, but they have no real sense of, like, they're not grounded in anything. And it's very hard to get pockets of them together to do anything worthwhile. Like, I make the case that artistic movements are basically dead in general because there are just so many ideas and styles in the contemporary way of doing things.
right.
And then obviously the third is the Instagram poets, but they're barely poets, I guess. So um, I don't know. Like, I guess my inspirations mostly come from, even though I make fun of them endlessly, contemporary poets, because I feel like every art form has to go through phases naturally. Otherwise, it just stultifies and it starts to just die. So if you were to follow the Byron loving types of the world, people would just realize that the best of that style was written 200 fucking years ago and we should leave
Right.
it there. Like, you're not going to outright Byron because he was writing in a mode that was natural to that time period. So like if you try to fake it now, you're really just like this kind of strange epigone and groping at like uh, a style that isn't isn't natural to your I guess era. So
Right. It's anachronistic, basically,
yeah.
and it comes off as just fake and gay, to be honest,
Yeah, that's pretty much it. Like
And you can apply the same exact thing to, visual arts, like you get those kind of like internet chuds that are always posting their fucking like 19th century symbolist paintings or that type of thing, and it's like, dude, you can't just paint like pre-Raphaelites forever because it need the medium, the message, the form needs to move, and it needs to be in convert. You can be in conversation with the past, but you have to be in the present or the future.
yeah, I mean that's exactly it.
All
Like
right,
you can be as culture as you want as I am, but you have to acknowledge that these things have to keep moving. They have to keep expanding. Sometimes they'll sort of contract based on certain pressures, but you have to let it live. And yeah, all that chutters out there and stuff doing
it's
it.
it's in both directions, man. Right?
Yeah.
And it's not just poetry. It's sculpture. It's it's architecture with the guys posting, architecture, and it's like, no, we can't, you can't do that. You gotta be some sort of moving forward. You know, when you messaged me wanting to be on here, I was like, oh man, I'm not really a big poetry guy, so I'm probably not going to be, I'm going to be at a loss. So I'm looking at my shelf, okay, and I'm like, let me see what poetry I got here. So actually, I own a few poetry books. So
Yeah.
you ready to make fun of me? All right.
All right,
I
let's do
got,
it.
I got Bukowski, The
All
Last
right.
Night of the Earth poems. Okay, you got to have Bukowski.
Sure.
I got Wallace Stevens.
Oh,
All
okay,
right.
good choice. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
All right. I got a book of Japanese death poems I picked up in Narita Airport.
Oh, dude, I have the same one.
I was I was like stuck in Narita Airport for like a few hours, you know. I was like, oh fuck, I need something to read, and I just saw it and I picked it up. I got
Yeah.
I got the collected poems of Sylvia Plath.
Oh shit.
I
Okay.
got probably my favorite poet besides Bukowski, W.B. Yeats.
Hmm.
His collected poems. Let me see what else I got here. I think that's it. That's my no. I got a Louise Gluck collection also, which I
Yeah, they
actually
love her.
I do like her. I know she's kind of a fan of the. I'm not a fan, but like the shit lives love her, but I do like her work. So yeah,
Yeah, the shit
that's
libs love her for sure. I included at least one reference to her. I think it was in the description for Echolalia Journal. They were looking for like his copy of Luis Gluck or something like that. I don't
yes,
know
I
what the
saw
fuck it is.
that. Yeah, you know her stuff's good. You know,
Yeah.
I do like that Wallace Stevens kind of the fist fight with fucking Hemingway or something like that, or that's the story behind it. And
Yeah.
the only thing that's ruined about Wallace Stevens is that I think Stephen King used one of his poems in fucking one of his novels, and it's kind of become like normie core chuddery because of that. But he's eyed for mid 20th century stuff. But yeah, there it goes. It's
Yeah.
very my collection's very normie if you don't include some of the Romanian stuff I have, which you probably never heard of, so it doesn't matter. You know,
Yeah, that's not bad. Honestly, I've had people tell me they're into poetry, and I've taken a look at their bookshelf, and I've just like all you could do at that point is be polite. But I don't have to actually be polite. You got a couple good choices in there.
all you need to read is Bukowski. Actually, I do have in the other room, if I go my wife, like our main bedroom, there is a Rupi Kaur book. All right, and there is the Atticus book. So
Yeah, yeah.
okay, all right.
You know, if you have a wife, you got to have those around. I
Yeah, I'm
feel
sorry,
like,
man.
it's just kind of comes with the sort of female presence.
Yeah, it is what it is. But so, do you? Okay, so what do you think about like, is poetry something? You know, okay, so for all the shit talking on Rupi Kaur and Atticus and all that kind of stuff, they are in a way like so when you think of poetry, right? You immediately assume kind of like the short story market, right? You know, the short story fiction, even the big like magazines, the only fucking people that read short stories, you know, are people that submit short stories, right? Or are writing short stories, right? It's just kind of the truth, you know. It's kind of how like on Bandcamp, the only other people that listen to Bandcamp shit is like, you know, people in bands, right? So that's kind of the downside of it, right? But people like Rupi Kaur, whoever the fuck she is, they've kind of
Yeah.
broken into the mainstream. So in a way, she's not a bad thing, right? Because she's um, proven that there is a market, or there at least there is a normie interest, you know, for it, right? So what do you think about that? Do you think that you can have a poetry collection that goes outside the the fucking creeps that just read poetry? Is there like a I want to see what she has
Yeah,
though.
I think you can. Yeah, like every time I go into up here in Canada, it's like a chapters. I'll go into chapters. I'll go to the arts and letters section. I'll go to the poetry section. And most of the time, the new editions are like, what was it? Megan Fox wrote a poetry book recently. Um, and it's celebrities writing poetry books. I'm like, okay, Lana Del Rey, whatever the fuck. And I'll flip through it and I'll know that, they're not trained poets. So it's
Right.
it's fine. Like they can do that. Like if it gets people reading poetry, I used to just like fucking foam at the mouth going in there reading that shit, but I've gotten over it. So Like yeah, you got those types in there, and then you'll have some like quote unquote serious poets mixed in, sort of, but it's usually quite politically charged content about this or that identity's experience or the latest Syrian to like row over in a boat to fucking, I don't know, Newfoundland or some shit.
Right.
Uh,
Refugee shit or something like that.
yeah,
Getting
it's
raped by somebody or something.
yeah, yeah, unfortunately. And I mean, I don't mean to laugh at that experience, but it's just
That's what it
there.
is, man.
It's just there's so much of it. It's just fucking nonsense. Like just the sheer volume of it. I
Right.
don't have an issue with the subject matter most of the time. It's just that is what kind of people see when they think of contemporary poetry and they read like poetry journals. They're kind of seeing that, or they're thinking of Lang, Lev, and all that.
Right.
Um,
You're
some
probably younger, much younger than me, right? I don't know. I'm gonna assume you're probably 20 years younger than me because I'm 42, right? But
Yeah,
in the 90s, there was this, everybody knows this, but there was a popular show called Married with Children, right?
yeah,
And it was a fucking great show. Like it was a show that would never, like, you could never play it. Like, it could never be on TV right now. It was too based and fucking, it just, you can't, right? But
yeah, yeah,
there's this episode where, kind of a repeating motif is like all the dudes, uh, Al Bundy and his crew of like degenerate, like loser husbands, right? Are in this group called No Ma'am, this anti-feminist, like misogynist crowd, right? And
yeah,
you walk around with these like shirts that have like, the female circle cross thing or whatever symbol, and it's a crossed out and shit. And they go to this strip club. It's like they call it, it's like the nudie bar that they always go to. But they walk in, and the nudie bar has been sold, and it's been turned into like a poetry cafe.
oh fuck.
And they go in there, and they're all amped up, ready. They got bills in their hands, freaking titties and stuff. And this big old fat woman comes out. She comes out and she like sits like on a stool, and she starts reading a poem. It's like a poetry fucking show, and it's about her ovaries, and it's like, my eggs, my beautiful eggs. And he's like, what the fuck? They're expecting a stripper, And
Yeah,
that's for some reason, whenever I think poetry, ever since I watched it as a kid, that's what I immediately think of. Just this. I would fucking YouTube that scene just so you could see this shit, because it was fucking hilarious. But yeah, I mean, I think it's cool. I think it's cool that, like, there is poetry, and there is. I mean, poetry is one of the most important art forms. Some of our oldest historical literary tradition is poetry, right? Like,
yeah,
um, pre-modern fiction was in poetic form. There's the Poetic Eddas, and there's the Greek poems, and just, poetry just is the foundation of literature, if you really want to be honest, right? And
yeah,
some of the great works of art that we refer to are in long form, like epic poetry, like, Beowulf, or, the stuff you pick up in ancient literature and medieval literature and that kind of stuff.
yeah,
So, it's, in a way, it's sad that so much of it has become associated with utmost corny shitlibbery, in a way, or like that college professor with the turtleneck. I mean, there's that era of, like, slam poetry and stuff, which kind of was somewhat cool, and punk rock kind of brought poetry more into the cooler phase, right? But for
yeah,
the most part, haven't really heard of much anything poetry in a while,
yeah.
is there scenes in bigger cities? I mean, I live in Savannah, basically Savannah, Georgia, right? And
Mhm.
there's a decent art scene around here, but not a huge, like, literary scene. It's more visual arts. But yeah. Is there, does New York have one?
Yeah. So like, um, again, I can't fully dox myself, but let's say I'm not fully in with the New York scene, but
But you've been around.
I've been around to the point where I've let's say, talked to either in person or through sort of email or whatever, through publishers, like big name figures, but mostly through like prose, just like novelists and stuff, because poets just, no matter how big they are, unless you're Ocean Vuong, and they all fucking love Ocean Vuong, don't even get me started on him. Uh, you're kind of just, no matter how good you are, you're just not really a major player. Um, so like, yeah, if you want fame and fortune and all that sort of stuff, become a novelist. Um, because really, no matter how good you are, unless you're checking those boxes, all of them that some of my personas would have, you're just gonna kind of fucking die in obscurity, like Norm Sebum and all those guys. Like, um, so I mean, to answer your question from before, you could have the greatest poetry collection in the world. You could write the next great Beowulf. You could write the next great this or that, cantos from Ezra Pound. But yeah, I mean, you're gonna have the diehards who seek you out and respect what you're doing. But really, you're not gonna be getting multinational book deals and stuff like that again, unless this is coming from like, a black woman with like one leg.
Right.
Uh, so it's really unfortunate, and that's kind of one of the things I ran up against as well. Just, I mean, there is a ceiling for poetry right now. People every now and again break through, but they're almost always industry plants, or they're used to just promote a certain message, let's say. So yeah, like a straight white guy coming through with the fucking next Beowulf would be
Just
almost pretty unheard of.
impossible, right? Like there's no T.S. Eliot out there. There's no, Ezra Pound. There's just nothing, right? Just it's not thing. Um,
Yeah.
in about a few minutes, Fisto's going to be on here. I'm saving Ecolalia for him.
Yeah,
I want to wait for him before we talk about that because I know he's going to have some
sure.
input. But um, so 20th century poets, who do you like?
Which century? 21st or 20th?
20th, right? Like
20th?
something that
Hmm.
like this is before the ceiling came down, So
Yeah, I mean, I'm gonna have to go with obviously my boy Ezra Pound, although I actually don't really like his individual poems sometimes, if I'm honest. I've read a lot of his stuff. The cantos are brilliant but schizophrenic. But I mean, I have like six different collections of his with various works from various phases. And I think I enjoy more what he stands for. Read into that what you will. But uh, T.S. Eliot, of course, Wallace Stevens. If I had to look at my bookshelf here, there are many. There are honestly tons, and I still discover them every day. Every time I go into a bookshop and I pick up an older looking book, I go, "Wow, this guy was fucking nuts!" Like, I love what he's doing.
right. And you do prefer the modern stuff, right? You like the modern era as opposed to the older.
Yeah, like if you go back to the 1700s and stuff like that, you're going to start to lose me. I appreciate what they're doing, and I mean, I teach Shakespeare all the time, and I'm routinely impressed by what I find in new plays of his that I haven't quite read yet or anything, and I have to teach it. So there's a lot to be found in those older styles still, but I just don't think, yeah, you don't want to go mimicking those. So if you're gonna go try to find something that would be more useful to you as a poet now, you would probably be looking at the 20th or 21st centuries.
All right.
Uh,
How about 21st century? Who do you like? If I was one of your students, just a complete and total fucking noob, I was like, hey, I want to get into poetry, man. Like, who should I
yeah.
read? That's like new, you know?
Yeah, the thing is, like, I couldn't even tell you how many like contemporary poetry collections I have around here. Like, just looking on the fucking ground here. I've got my My White Mama by My White Mama by Mercedes Ang. Terrible. Really, really one of the worst I've ever read. Trauma Head by Lee Crowell G. Gardner. All these fucking ones. Like most of them, I buy them, and I really, or the publishers and stuff used to send me them in the mail.
Wait.
Um,
My white mama is actually spelled my YT mama, right?
yeah, yeah, yeah.
Right. That's
Uh,
fucking
it's
atrocious.
terrible.
I hate you for even
Yeah,
making me look that up, man.
like I obviously don't like these ones,
Another
but I'll
Canadian. What the fuck is in that water up there with you guys, man, or fucking wherever you guys are? You know, like
yeah, they took the
her,
fluoride out too. I don't know
Rupi
what's going on.
Kaur. You guys, fuck Canadians, man. You guys are diseased. Do what is
Yeah.
fucking wrong. We don't
Yeah.
want you, man. I'm gonna fucking
No.
red. I'm gonna call Elon and Trump, and I'm like, hey, man, ixnay on that shit, dude. Keep these crazy motherfuckers up there.
Is
That's
that
what I
how you
keep.
welcome me? Is that how
Hey,
you welcome me, sir? I
welcome.
roll up
Hey,
and it's
close
just
the door behind you, motherfucker,
I
dude.
roll in and it's you're gonna call Elon Musk on my ass. Wow, dude. I
No,
just got here.
we're talking about
Hello.
amazing Canadian
How's it
poetry,
going?
an amazing poetry collection called My White Mama, with white being spelled as YT, by
Oh
a
my God.
Chinese Canadian.
And I'm seeing Jasper's profile picture, whatever the bloody fuck that is, which is fantastic.
Yeah,
What holy crap.
it's
Amazing.
you know the whole Sneed meme, Chuck's feed and seed and all that.
Yeah.
But he's clenching his ass cheeks around R.C. Walden's head.
Yeah,
Wow. Well, hey
we're,
man, nice to meet you. How's the podcast going? How are things?
Yeah,
we're talking about
I'm liking it so
poetry, talk
far.
about poetry
Good.
and shit,
Cool. All
All right.
right.
So now
I'll
that
just
you're
dive right in.
here,
Here we
now,
go.
now that you're here, right, I actually
Uh-oh.
saved the main thing. So what we've been talking about, review for everybody that if they just hit whatever. Shut up, I don't care. Anyways, so Jasper, Jasper's a poet here, right? And host scaring for sure, right? And
Oh yeah.
Good. We're staying on our host scaring arc.
but what he's really here, first of all, he is one of the co-editors, or took over for my son over there over at Pear Ube, right? Or guest from last week. He took over at their little publication, and for Noah, and it just came out, right? Did Echolele just come out like yesterday, or when did you
Yeah,
put
it
it?
just dropped.
Okay, just dropped.
Yeah.
All right, so let me kind of introduce Ecolalia because I waited for Fisto to show up because this is important, right? Ecolalia is a collection of poetry. It is a journal of poetry, amazing poetry, right? That's been published in other places, respectable magazines, right? And it's really good. It's fantastic, right? And well, tell us about it. Go ahead, Jasper. Tell us what the most important thing about Ecolalia is.
Yeah. So Fisto, do you know anything about it?
Very little. I just looked up your Substack and I looked at what Alexander provided earlier about well, I don't want to ruin the surprise, but I'm looking it over right now going, oh shit. Oh
Yeah.
shit. Oh fantastic. Oh yes. So please bedazzle me,
Yeah.
sir. Bedazzle me in all the ways that I shall
Sure.
be amazed.
So I'm thinking, it's half poetry journal, half expose, I guess. And it's a weird meta modern presentation where it's like mostly satire, but I am trying to actually be authentic about my message. But uh, so for your listeners and stuff like that, I assumed multiple different personas, let's say, because I had been getting published under my own name and all that sort of stuff. But I was noticing certain trends in the industry, and I noticed it would be way easier to get published as someone else, let's say. But, guys like Michael Derrick Hudson, they did that. He got his infamous Bees poem published in I can't remember which magazine, but then they anthologized it as one of the best of the year. But he did that with one, and he was really just looking for clout, I guess. But I figured I would take things in a slightly different direction. I would actually prove a point instead of just getting published for no reason other than to get published. So yeah, I took on the persona of Adele Nwankwo, Nigerian Nigerian healthcare worker with ADHD and all this other shit. BH Feinstein, the gay Jew, and Claire Brooke Hawksmouth, the indigenous healer, and
Foxmouth, the indigenous healer.
yeah.
Real quick, I want to interrupt.
Oh no!
If you're not familiar with Adele Nwankwo, right? Adele Nwankwo, is that how you say it?
Nwankwo. Yeah.
Nwankwo. Adele Nwankwo, they, them, is a gender fluid member of the Nigerian diaspora. They have an ongoing fascination with Shakespeare, Edward de Vere, clearly, that their ADHD and OCD will not allow them to let go of. Their work has appeared in several journals, including the Bitchin Kitsch, Queerlings, and Meow Meow Pow Pow. A fantastic writer, Adele.
Meow,
Yeah.
meow, pow, pow. Okay.
Yeah, Meow Meow actually republished that one. I got it published elsewhere. That they liked it so much they came up with like graphics for it and shit. But yeah, Adele was probably the most well known. She got the most opportunities and she earned the most money. But yeah, so there were other ones, you know, Claire Hawksmouth, and you'll see in the journal as her like indigenous name, I just took like I think it was Iroquois or something like that. I used different indigenous languages for every single fake indigenous word she uses. But it her name translates to I'm a fraud. And I think the other part, Sky Child, I put it was like not a real person or some shit. So like Eleanor Navia May Payne.
I'm getting such like biggest dickest vibes right now. This is great.
Dude,
Yeah.
I reread everything to this earlier today because I didn't have work today, and I was like dying of laughter, like tears streaming down my face, man. It was so good. And the thing is, it's good, and keep going. I'll have a million questions. Keep going.
Yeah, so you know, there were other personas. Eleanor Navia May Payne, she published one of your favorites there, the Baba poem.
The Baba poem is fantastic.
Yeah. And, her one
just for listeners at home, the Baba poem is basically a bunch of mumbo jumbo Chinese letters, and it's basically in between like this like wall of Chinese you know, logograms, whatever the fuck they're called, right? I'm pulling it up right now because I want to share this because it's so good. So it's a wall of you know, Chinese text, right? And it's basically, you know, Chinese, blah, blah, Jinjiao village, a poor fisherman's son, Chinese, 1957, immigrated, 70 cents, pocket, San Francisco, Chinatown. Junk, labor, hard work, bad white people, discrimination, and then it ends with perseverance. And it goes on. Either way, it's basically just a wall of like Chinese characters and English, you know, words saying fighting prejudice.
Oh no,
it's so fucking good, right?
Yeah,
Baba.
Yeah, it's understanding change, following your example, blah blah blah. I love you, Baba. They kept the blah blah blah.
Yeah,
oh god. I can't believe it.
When somebody published this, right?
Yep, Cathexis Review or Cathexis North.
It's not even
Northwest.
I mean, it's not even properly formatted Chinese though, right? Because it's left to right, and Chinese is written up and down, right? So whoever, you basically submitted like the kanji tattoo of a version of a poem, basically, you know?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
It's fucking beautiful.
Yeah, and like, I mean, I see Baba poems all the time. In particular, like every single poetry journal I buy or whatever it is, there's always some fucking Baba poem, and so I put
fucking Baba.
Yeah, like
That's
I
what we
put
call one of our cats. That makes it really like super extra funny to me.
Ugh.
yeah, I mean Baba is a great word and all, and like it's a fun name, and but I just see it everywhere. So I put the tag like after Yuxman Tiao's Baba and Clarence Zhang's Baba and F. Wu Grenoir's Baba and all this sort because they all do these. But
Yeah.
yeah, as I was saying before we got on there, I actually hid text in there. Like it is against their policies to publish this because all these journals they would have on their landing pages like, oh, we support this or that group. We actively screen for, you know, this type of identity or this type of experience. I'm like, okay, you're gonna get it, but they would also say like we don't publish any sort of racism, we don't publish any sort of prejudiced content, da da da. So I'm like, okay, well, I'm gonna see if you actually check your shit because they don't. They didn't screen it at all. I hid like I hate you, white man, like die, 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 buy my chat book and all that stuff in the background. So it's all there in print. They just they just didn't want to check it because they didn't want to be insensitive to me.
Right, that's fucking hilarious. But
Wow.
Ecolalia actually has a fantastic, you know, a submission like a statement, right? That says that ECO respectfully operates on unceded ancestral Treaty 13 and William Treaties recognized land of the Anishinaabe and Chippewa, like potato chip, and Haudenosaunee and Wendat and Mississauga of the Credit Peoples, not banking related. As an editorial team, publication, and institution, we deeply honor the displaced people of these tribes and wish them all the best. Moi, we love you with finding new land. It's, you got like the introduction to you know the what the fuck the collection is so fucking funny, man, because it's like you've got like additionally our team offers support to BIPOC, marginalized, incarcerated, handicapped novice writers or those who are feeling a little poopy. Dude,
Yeah,
it's like
I'm looking through some of these Ecolio review things, and this is just straight vandalism, man. I love it. This is
this
fantastic.
is
Now, look, it's funny that you're talking about this because, like, I don't know if Alex mentioned, but I'm a social studies teacher,
Yeah.
and I'm desperately trying to get my kids to think and really look at language, and like literacy has been such a huge focus this year. And earlier today, I was watching some chatter between, you know, like uh, one of the commenters on Substack, Peebo. He was talking with some AI loving LLM guy, and it's amazing because there's no understanding. There's just no understanding, and like you see people think, right? I see kids think. I see them think all day. I can watch it. I can see the sparks go off in their heads when they have thoughts and they legitimately think things.
Yeah.
And with the LLM stuff and people talk about that, and it's like there's nothing up there. You're just spitting words out of your face. And like what you're doing here is like it's the poetry tactical nuclear spec ops strike to be like, yeah, guys, this is all fake. This is all fake. It's all fake. Here it is, just spelling it out. And man, are any of these places still around once USAID, you know, dried up? Because good Lord. Oh, this is
Yeah.
great. I love this.
Yeah, and like, you know, as an educator too, I mean, I feel the same way. And again, I won't dox myself, but yeah, like I teach
Yeah.
different groups and I'll teach socials sometimes, but generally it's English. But yeah, like I really enjoy seeing students clue in and like just get a grip. And it's
Yeah.
hard to get them there, but I keep trying. You know, I want to get out of the industry, I think, eventually. But I've really been trying to shake people up a little bit just so that
Yeah.
it's to their benefit. Like I'm not trying to impose upon them any particular ideology. I just really want them to break free from whatever they've been mired in. And
Yeah.
this book is essentially that for the poetry world.
Yeah.
yeah. Well,
I'm
so
at the emoji one right now. Holy crap.
Yeah, that
so
one that
This is AIDS, bro. Well done. This is AIDS. This is just AIDS into my eyeballs.
I've got a funny thing story though
Oh.
about the first one. So the
Yeah.
Shakespeare's Cum Slut one.
Jeez.
Uh
cherry blossom bussin right here. No, I like that
Hold
one
on,
too.
hold on. I gotta go back up. I gotta scroll back up. Shakespeare's comes.
yeah, so
All right, all right, all right. I'll shut up. I'll shut up.
this one Like, I wish I could read this out to your listeners. It wouldn't work without the emojis littered throughout, but um yeah, so this I sent to Jake magazine, and they kind of are like champions of the indie world and like not giving a fuck about guidelines and stuff, but they also hate racism and like a bunch of other things. And I don't know, they're just like another one of these really confused like alt lit whatever type mags.
Right.
So I sent this and the one that's written in Simlish to them, and they took both under BH fine. But they got back to me after the fact, like I don't know, many months later. And they're like, "Hey, we just want to let you know we've nominated this for best of the net this year. Like we took all of our editors and some of our like trusted readers, and we sent them like all the our nominations as like a pool, and then we had them narrow it down, and yours was the clear favorite. So we're nominating you as the best of the year, as well as like, you know, for best of the net for all of indie poetry. I'm like, you've got to be fucking kidding me.
That's awesome, you know? Like you're a super spreader, right? You're fucking champion
Yeah.
all over here. Basically, you know, this is this collection. It's up there with what's her name? Fucking what's her name? Honor Levy, right? It's
Oh
you
yeah,
know,
yeah,
right? But all jokes aside, right? Like ultimately what you did here, and first of all, it's actually fucking fantastic, right? It's hilarious because it's like super meta modern and like meta, but at the same time it's, you know, you don't I don't think you take each work individually, you have to take it as a whole. But it's serious shit, right? It's serious shit because like I said earlier before Fisto got on, I think, you know, poetry is the literature, right? It's the building block of our entire Western literary tradition, and it's become taken over by fucking frankly just fucking clowns. All right,
yeah,
the publishing world, you know, poetry as the vanguard of clown world when it comes to the, you know,
yeah,
but literary fiction is just complete and utter fucking trash, and even like mainstream genre fiction is now completely fucking trash. It's like worse than the worst shit that was at an airport like 20 years ago.
yeah,
And these people are not, you got to make fun of them, man. Fuck them. Right? You know what I mean?
yeah,
Because their outlook on the world is a fucking joke. They're all a bunch of fucking hypocrites and retards, frankly. You know what I mean?
yeah,
And doing this kind of shit proves that they're fucking retards, you know? And all that shit is fake and gay, right? They don't really care about any of the, you know, the one-legged Nigerian, you know, semi-literate retard, you know, they don't care about that. They want you to think that they care about that so they can bang that 19-year-old girl at the fucking party. You know what I mean?
yeah.
That's really what it's about, right? At least in my opinion, you know? So shit like this is exactly what we need, you know? And then it's fucking funny, dude. You know what I mean? It's hilarious, right? Like this would not work if you weren't funny. Well, first of all, you're obviously a good poet, right? Like you can write, right? Like who can put down words like ass, money, Mercedes, steel guard, trigger, tape, cum, text, nudes, Avion, bottle, cock balls, G string, stare, drink, drunk. I can't believe somebody published that, dude.
Yeah, they were enthusiastic about it too.
Flags, fucking philosophy, war, crypto, Confucius, Cicero, legionnaire, simulation, rap. But you know what? Like it's great, right? And you know, it does say a lot about the literary establishment, and poetry magazines and these independent poetry magazines are really the vanguard of our culture. And unfortunately, they're
I want to,
taking us off the cliff, man.
yeah, I want to share one here that I particularly enjoy. Trolls. There was once a chick from the CIA who shut toxic trolls down every day. So her they tried to dox, but she just outfoxed. And now they're in jail where they ought to stay.
This is an Instagram poem right there, right?
Yeah, that's like a just a trash limerick, and like for those, I would make sure to get it like mostly right, but I would strategically fuck up some of the meter, or like I
Right.
would just kind
Yeah.
of like just make it so that it was bad, but still somewhat clever. And so that one, yeah, that's
That
from
is
the
tricky.
I mean, the one right behind it is it has a line, "Meter is dead, I get no head." So that's
Metropolis, man. There was once a man from Metropolis who wanted to climb up on top of this. When it got to fucking and he wanted sucking, I told him that I was a zoophagus. What?
yeah, zoophagus or whatever, but
Zoophagus, sorry.
yeah,
Zooph.
which is just yes, fucking trash.
I don't think I've ever gotten on this podcast and gone from 0 to 60 so goddamn quick. Holy shit. This is
That
great.
one was
Whoa.
featured in Alice Says Go Fuck Yourself. What a magazine name. That one, I can't remember which press they're a part of, but yeah, that was Says Go Fuck Yourself.
This reminds us, this is great. This whole thing reminds me of that classic Calvin and Hobbes comic where like Calvin gives Hobbes this is my artist statement, and Hobbes looks at him and goes, "You misspelled Welch and Chung," or however the hell you say that. A true artist statement says more about the art than the art ever does. Makes it an incomprehensible, brick of meaninglessness.
Right.
Anyway,
so you commit to the bit here, the whole journal. You've got like submission forms, you've got ads and stuff towards the back, you've got like Amazon royalty statements, just everything, footnotes, and just the whole thing is I mean, it's probably actually better put together than most poetry magazines are in real life. So where can listeners get a copy of this?
Yeah, so like I had to go with like special dimensions for it, which was really annoying because I had to make it look like a literary journal as well. And there's so many different forms and there's so much different content. Like it was just the biggest ball ache in the world to format. Noah and I basically did it ourselves. You can get it mostly on Amazon at this point. Unfortunately, I hate Bezos and the boys, but yeah, this one is available on Amazon right now, and then I'm gonna look to put it on a few different uh platforms coming up here. I just because the dimensions are so weird, I don't really know who's gonna take it. Like you can't put it on Ingram or anything like that, but we'll find some more spots. I'm gonna try to probably sell it through the press's website coming up soon too for like a
Right.
digital copy for
Well,
cheaper.
I'll make sure I link it, right? I'm looking at the Transcommittal Review, TCR. Men are actually shit. The depopulation issue, winter 2020X. Send up to 3 of your best poems on why people, men specifically, are absolutely unequivocally, scientifically the most foul, disgusting pieces of shit to ever inhabit the fucking gorgeous blue and green orb we call home and should probably be cold. That's, for more info, hit us up at tclit@gmail.com. Thanks, bestie. Just but Fisto, did you ever used to watch fucking Married with Children when you were younger?
yeah.
Do you remember
Yeah.
the when they turned the strip club into a poetry fucking reading?
I don't
Oh,
know.
you got to watch that one again. I was talking about earlier. Um,
Should
yeah.
I kill myself or buy another Funko Pop?
So what? Okay, so what inspired
I'm
us? I mean,
sorry. I'm sorry. I'm just looking through it. It just things are popping out at me as I go, and it's just oh god.
Yeah.
like Ubuntu Kenda's new neo-Marxist theory, broadly speaking, would encourage as a mononym explores its mere seminal treaty more equal.
So hold on. I want to try something. I'm being dead ass about
Yeah.
this. Can you? So like, will you be able to buy a physical copy of this?
Yeah. I think the physical copy is the best form to read it in. So like right now the
Okay.
physical is available. I have like an
I'm gonna
ebook thing, but whatever.
I'm gonna see about this getting officially approved for my classroom.
Oh God.
And just because, like, listen, I just recently got a bunch of books approved, and a couple of them. One of them was Industrial Society and Its Consequences.
Oh shit. Okay. Yeah.
And like she knew what it was. Like she's like, this is good stuff. Like just make sure they're, the correct maturity level. I could absolutely fucking spin this to be like just to have it out there because one kid will look at it and I'll be like, that's satire of the poetry world. And they'll look at it and just be like, holy smokes, this is cool. Like that's literally the only reason I would have it. Like
That's
it's not in there to
fantastic.
like actually cause a problem, but legitimately this is one of the reasons I love this podcast because I get exposed to stuff like this. And even if it isn't this specifically, but anything that you can recommend, man, that would because I have a couple students in my class who legitimately there's poets down in there somewhere. I can
Right.
see it, right? I've read some of their shit and I'm like, it's right in there.
Yeah.
So having them see what the real big boys are doing and like check out this wild shit, man. Like that's I want it. I want it. I'm gonna get what I want.
This is just like, basically punk rock shit, right? And
Yes, exactly.
It's making fun of, the
100%.
I mean, punk is dead. I'm sorry, guys. If it died when somebody said punk rockers don't vote Republican or whatever. I saw that on fucking, actually, who I saw post that, like that goths can't be right wing, right? Do you remember that little fucker we were beefing with, that retard that we, what was that guy's name? I don't even know. That fat
Indus
retard.
Mongolia or whatever.
Yeah,
the fuck it was. That
no,
guy.
no, not that guy. That fat retard from St. Louis, who's like, "Oh, he's my wife" or whatever. And I was like creeping on their Instagram, and I clicked on his wife's like Twitter.
Yeah. His
and she had this like her whole thing was like, goths aren't fascist or something like that. I'm like, I'm gonna talk about Joy Division
Look,
for a second.
punk rock isn't dead. You know what? No. Punks don't vote Republican. Punks don't vote Democrat. Punk rock isn't dead. Punk rock dies for the emperor. All right.
No, punk rock just doesn't.
That's where we're at. That's where we're at.
Listen,
punk
man.
rock dies for the empire.
Listen, man. Have you? It's like I just these people. I fucking hate them with the flames of 5,000 supernovas. Basically, these people that like have turned all art and culture into this just fucking milk toast nerdy like loser thing. It's like Phoebe from Friends, singing Smelly Cat. Basically, that's it. Just Chungus shit. Like I can't.
I met Sunday Gunday, a buyer's guide.
Well, actually,
this one's a classic. 22 rifles are among the world's most. Wait, what? Like they never. Oh man, cult government 45 ACP. What? Here's double barrel coach shotgun. Oh,
yeah,
no.
And I mean, I would love for you to have that in your classroom. That would actually be an honor.
This side-by-side firearm is straight out of Cowboys and Indians for $1,776. You son of a bitch.
I missed that.
Like,
I missed that. I missed $1,776.
Like $1,666.
All the prices have jokes.
Oh, they're all
in them,
bullshit.
All the recommended also bought with type things
are
jokes too. Yeah.
My Little Pony butt plug, anime body pillow, 48 Laws of Power by Grant.
My wife liked the cat emancipation poem. That was pretty.
I looked over that one a little bit. This is the thing, just to like zoom out real fast. I've been thinking long and fucking hard about where we are in history and the breath that the world's spirit may or may not be taking over the next 20 years. I don't mean to get super heavy all of a sudden, but I'm talking to my kids and we're talking about social studies. We're talking about what's going on in the world. I'm like, guys, don't be afraid. There's some shit coming down the pipe, but do not be afraid of it. All right. You're not going to run into anything that humans haven't dealt with in the past. Okay. And stuff like this and the ability to think and the ability to kind of break, like you said, break through, break out, get out of the slop that we've been caught in for the past 80 years. It's a survival strategy. And for us, Jasper, roughly how old are you?
I'll say I'm in my 20s.
Perfect. And roughly what part of the world do you live in?
I'm over in Canada.
Canada. Fantastic. Yeah. So you're in North America like we are, right? All right. Yeah. Good enough. I'm down in Florida. Alexandria is in some swamp in South Carolina or whatever the fuck. I don't even know.
I'm in a gentleman's swamp, okay?
A gentleman's swamp. A gentle swamp. A gentle swamp,
It is a gentle low country swamp, all right, for southern gentlemen.
Yeah, right? But we need to be about like the dead hand of Selden, where we're looking 1,000 years in the future and thinking, what the fuck do we need to leave behind? Because gods know what's going to make it. Like, I really think that's kind of where we're at. That's really where we're at. And that's not terrifying. It's just, it's this, the recognition of how big the job is, how little time we have. And it's just, let's fucking go. We do not have time to screw around and be like, should we could do this? No, 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 just, you can just do things because gods know how long you're going to be able to do that. You know what I mean? You guys pick up
No,
what I'm laying down here?
I agree with you, and that's why I said
Whew.
like for like this project you did, Jasper, for all its like hilarious comedy, and god damn it, we need funny
Jeez.
shit. Okay, 'cause we're the last few years we've been lacking comedy completely. There hasn't, I mean, not counting like internet shit posting, which has been some of the funniest shit I've seen in years.
Yeah, yeah.
Just trolling motherfuckers like you did. It's just it's what it's about, dude, man. And it's hilarious because these people like really like the whiff of their own farts, man. You know what I mean? And they take this shit so seriously. And I can just see I can see these like obese Nick, like thick glasses, fucking Vancouveran like poetry women just raging,
Oh yeah, yeah.
just fucking raging with their cat fucking glasses, indiscriminate, some sort of half white, half Asian race thing going on, just raging at the fucking gray sky. And it's just we can't take this shit seriously anymore. I mean, these people
No.
just so much of the ills of our cultural mainstream is, like I said last episode, is people that have never taken a punch, and it's actually
Mm.
people that have never been
Yeah.
told to shut the fuck up.
Yeah,
Just
yeah.
shut the fuck up. Nobody gives a fuck. Shut up.
Until LLMs start telling people to shut the fuck up, they're
Yeah.
useless.
That's really
Yeah.
that's
That's
really
kind
what
of
it
where I'm at.
is. Right? I do want to mention that I am gonna if I ever buy an iguana, I am gonna name it David Lizinch because I thought that was funny.
What? David Lizinch? Is
Yeah.
this something in there? Oh, gee,
Yeah,
Jacob.
Yeah.
it's an iguana named David Lizinch. Tonight and then tonight Meowcome X. That's what
Yeah.
they named the cat. Did that get published? Did somebody publish a
Yeah,
poem
yeah, yeah.
where
They all got published.
somebody okay, so there's a poem by Z.L. Williams, Decolonizing a Stray, and I'm just gonna read parts of it, okay? And it says, I'll spare you the Iams unseasoned chicken pellets. Tonight, Meowcome X, you eat beef suya and lentils with me. Tonight, we feast as the free. Like somebody fucking
It's so bad. Like it's it's so bad. The
I
Bitchin
decide.
Kitsch took that one.
No. What about this one? And everything and everywhere around us, undoing the sensate unbecoming of a white hand of a white phallus stepped on by
Oh,
Jelq Breckner, fetal torpedo antiquarian in shit.
yeah, Jelk there. I didn't send that one out. Like there's a prefatory sort of because they'll always do this in poetry journals. They'll have like a quote at the beginning to set the scene.
Yeah.
Um, that quote at the beginning from Strawberry Ahmadinejad, I didn't try to send that out, and the Jelk Brenner one, I didn't try to send out. I could have written full poems for that, but I'm like, I've already nuked this like 4 times over. Everything in the issue has been published in some capacity. I'm like, I can probably rest.
Yeah,
But
yeah, yeah. Ooh.
yeah. So what inspired you to do this? I mean, where were you like, man, let me do this shit. Let me put this together. Like what triggered it?
yeah, so to Fisto's point, I mean, I was trying to look ahead because I've been working with kids here for like, and I'll go all the way up to university students, but um for, years, let's say. And obviously I've been keeping tabs on the broader cultural movements and stuff like that, political developments, all that kind of shit. And I was trying to predict where poetry was headed if we just kept
Yeah.
on down this path.
Yes.
And just with the sheer amount of saturation and the sheer sort of indifference the public is showing to it, I'm like, well, really, it's just going to be Instagram poetry and celebrity poetry books going forward, and like an ever shrinking enclave of quote unquote serious poets that just, yeah, end up forming like a human centipede type thing where they sniff their own farts the whole time. So I and I'd been working as an editor at a particular literary magazine, and I'd just seen all of this firsthand, and I'd learned about how the industry had worked behind the scenes. I'd started sort of getting invited to bigger types of poetry gatherings and literary gatherings, and I started getting in with publishers. So I just kept like I got further and further entrenched in the industry itself. But I saw how fucking just ridiculously it was being run. And what was getting promoted over other content and what the kind of, let's say, cultural effect of all of that was. And I just found it to be profoundly negative because if you do love poetry, but you also just want to see your fellow man or woman live well, this wasn't helping with that at all. In fact, it was making things worse, just across the board. It was just kind of giving into a sort of defeatism, kind of victimization complex, all this kind of stuff. It was really hurting people. In fact, every time I went to poetry groups and shit, everyone seemed fucking miserable, whether they were good or not at what they were doing. So my main inspiration was really just what kind of cultural influence can I have as a poet? Can I help people live better? And I try to do that with every project, whether it's a novel or whatever. So yeah, ultimately, I want people to live better lives. I want them to live more informed lives, and I want them to be able to, laugh at themselves every now and again. But I guess, yeah, it just kind of started. I saw how easy it was to get published if you had a particular type of identity. And I learned about the Ern Malley hoax and all of that. And I thought, you know what? I'm good enough to do that. I think I can pull that off. They
Right.
had it was James Macaulay and Harold Stewart. I always mess up his name. But yeah, they were a team of two. So I'm like, I can do it as a one-man show. It's kind of the same thing.
That's freaking hilarious, man. And everything you said is on point. And you're right. There is a misery, in a lot of stuff of 21st century kind of academic, artwork, and it's just so miserable, so serious, so lifeless, or in a way, I guess, performative, poserish, if you really want to go there, right?
Yeah.
Where it's just art should be. There's been a lot of articles lately and a lot of people commenting about, like, there's no white men allowed in publishing, right? And that's something I think I wrote an article on Substack 2 years ago where I was like, it's not just white men that are not allowed, it's all men. You walk into Barnes and Noble, which is uh, our only bookstore here in the United States that's big. And you can look at all the literature and the new releases shelves, and there's nothing written by any dude that's like under 50 and hasn't been like like a leftover, like Bret Easton Ellis or something like that, or
Yeah.
Stephen fucking King or whatever other airport fiction, right? But there's nobody under 30. There's nobody under 40, really. I don't think you can find anybody under 45. And then if there is one, it's like completely gross, like that one guy that's like dating Uma Thurman or whatever. It's like some nepo fucking dude,
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
I actually had a free copy of one of his books. I started reading it, and I was like, "This is such trash." I stopped after like the first 2 pages,
Yeah.
But you don't. It's boring, There's no life to it. It's so performative. There's no. It doesn't capture it, and you've shut down the publishing industry, the mainstream publishing industry has shut down an entire like generation of voices, right?
Yeah.
They have committed the biggest, the same exact crime that they accuse those old white dudes of doing, and they've shut down the majority of voices of an entire, really two generations, because I'm going to include millennials and Gen Zers,
Yeah.
and I think it's a cultural crime, right? Because the older guys don't really speak for us, right? The '80s fiction, that stuff belongs to those guys. Your what do you call it, like white noise and stuff, right? It's
Mhm.
great, but it's not ours. I guess the maybe Chuck Palahniuk or whatever can be more my generation. But even them, he's a Gen Xer, not a millennial. And there's just nothing, I mean, you look at the millennials and Gen Z writers, and who do you have? Honor Levy, right?
Yeah, and I mean Honor Levy even because she posts on Lit and stuff like that. She's essentially a nepo baby as well. Although her
Right.
stuff is funny, but like yeah, even those guys, the Dime Square movement and stuff like that, they don't really go far enough. Like they they're like faux conservative voices, and they always just like pussy out when it comes to, actual real, let's say, life-changing topics or things that you would want to clue people into. They just kind of like skirt around that and then go back to talking about Fox News versus CNN or some shit.
Right. I actually read Honor Levy's book. Um, I was listening to Red Scare, which I like. Okay, everybody gives me shit for liking Red Scare, but I like Red Scare. Look, listen, okay. Like I'm Eastern European. I gotta have Slav fucking, love to those two. Um,
Sure.
but I read Honor Levy's book. She was really fucking annoying on that when she went on their podcast. But
Oh yeah.
I
Yeah,
think
yeah.
that I actually read it before she went on there, and if I would have listened to that episode like before, I would have not fucking read her book because I was like, you fucking sound like an insufferable fucking twat, right? Um,
Yeah.
but I say great, take that back, roll that back. She's a good writer. She has nothing to say though. That was the kind of the problem. It's like you're right. It's like there's something cowardly about it.
Yeah.
The Red Scare girls are a little bit more edgy than she is. You think that for all this fucking energy and Dime Square and stuff, she'd have something to fucking say. And it's
Right.
basically about going to parties. Like, yeah, bitch, you're a rich girl that went to parties. Okay, whoop de fucking do. Like,
Right.
all right, like it's not like edgy in a way, and I'm going to say this, right? In a way, some of the shit libs on the left are kind of right that there is a little bit too much nepotism and a lot of stuff, and a lot of these rich people have nothing to say, and the voices of these underprivileged people are not like being, because it is more interesting, right? The poor
Yeah.
black girl that's having an abortion behind Target or whatever is a lot more interesting than whatever the fuck Honor Levy does, partying in Europe with her fucking rich boyfriend or whatever the fuck, right? Um,
Yeah.
but, right, the only problem is these people aren't giving voice to those people because those people aren't fucking writing. You know what I mean? Unfortunately, right?
Yeah.
And what they get is they just basically get rich Nepo kids that are Indian.
Yeah.
You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Like they've replaced like Nepo kids from fucking, white Jewish families with Indians or Chinese. you know and it's the
Yeah.
same shit, right? Ultimately all these stuff goes down to like every mainstream literary novel, every other one basically is,
Mm.
oh, I'm a rich girl, I went to Europe and I wanted to bang my professor, but he treated me like shit and now I'm finding myself.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. And I can't again dox myself or anything like that, but I've rubbed shoulders with those types. I know, let's say, what they're doing behind the scenes, what their work methods are, and all that kind of shit. Um, and I'm not impressed. Like I'm usually impressed by like there was a book by Sophie Kemp that came out recently, Paradise Logic, and it's just like that BPD girl sort of deranged aesthetic. um and like I appreciate it for what it is. Stylistically it's very fun and it's very engaging and all that sort of stuff, and I mean I sort of borrow in that from time to time in the poetry form, but it's more just they have the platform, they've been given it somehow, either through nepotism or just sheer hard work or both. But they don't really take that, let's say, chance on let's say material that would rub people in the industry the wrong way long term, right? They don't want to get blacklisted, all that, so they'll talk about a lot of the things that we might talk about. They're really just not going to take a hardline stance on anything. It's like a
Right.
politician's approach to writing with this kind of weird veneer of edginess. And personally, I just don't think there's much of a point in doing that. And so I figured I'd go all the fucking way. Like with this project and the other ones I've got out there, like and to Fisto's point before, I mean, what kind of legacy are you going to have? What do you want to do in this lifetime? You can do it. You can just go out and do it. Like, what's the worst that's going to happen to you? But they just, yeah, they're gutless in the end, unfortunately, as much as I like them.
Right, and that's what it feels like. And I think I was gonna write a review on our Levy's book, and I was like, I don't want to. And I just like was like, I don't really care enough, you know.
Yeah.
And
I wanna touch on something
well,
that
let me
Jasper
talk
said.
shit on
Yeah,
Honor
yeah,
Levy
yeah.
for one
All
second.
right, all right. Oh, of course. Oh, I always defer to talking shit on Honor
I
Levy.
don't know why.
By all means.
I don't
By
know
all
why.
means.
I've been on a
I
hatred.
apologize. I forgot
Okay,
myself.
I just joke. I don't hate her. I'm sure she's amazing and great and whatever. Right.
I do
I
have a
feel
thought though,
like
but yes,
feel
please,
like
sir.
she could write something really good. You know, like there's something there. Like she is a pretty good writer. You know, and she just needs to, I don't know, fucking write something real, you know, like drop the cutesy fucking internet shit, okay, that's like 2000 fucking 19, and just write fucking truth, you know. It just stop hiding behind irony, you know. It's like those punk rock girls, you know, they're like just fake as fuck, you know, and it's like all hot topic and shit. Just
Yeah.
be fucking real, man. Like just take a shit in the parking lot behind the bar, dude. Just fucking do it. You know what I mean? Anyways, go ahead,
Yeah.
Fisto.
Well, it's the idea that we write like politicians. We write like bureaucrats. We write like people trying to survive a psychic Stalinist gulag. I think in a lot of ways that's what's happened. That's what liberal democracy has done to all of us. You know, and I'm speaking not of democracy or liberalism per se, but the idea of this bureaucratic liberalism that has developed since the end of World War II. You know, the stuff that defeated communism. It's turned around and eaten itself.
Yeah.
Something that happened today that was kind of interesting. I want to describe it. Now, I'm a shit artist, all right? I don't know what I'm doing with I don't know what I'm doing with paint and a brush. But we had this kind of a little team building exercise at school today, and we were to paint a portrait of our partner, of one of our colleagues. And you know, it was a lark, it was a laugh, whatever. But I noticed something. I honestly tried to paint something. I tried to do the truth, and I also, you know, tried to kind of take the piss a little bit by making it some red, white, and blue. You know, I'm describing the escation of my colleague's soul as he engages in the form of his teaching. You know, I made up some bullshit. But like I did actually try to paint something unique. Like first thing I did was turn the canvas 90 degrees, you know, decide on the aesthetic, decide on the color, and just like slap some shit on there and just go where it went.
Just Jackson Pollock did a bit.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, absolutely. Jackson Pollock did. I resisted taking the dick out and painting with it, but you know, I got it done. And it's crap. It's crap. But when I was sitting there looking at it, it was like, that's honest at least. That's literally the best I could do. Like I just slapped it on there and just go for it. And we're all afraid of pissing the guards off. We're all afraid of pissing the you can't say that. You know, like we're just all scared of pissing the guards off. So we never do anything honest, even if it's garbage. A while back, I think we were talking to Alex, talking about plays. Yes, the playwright that we interviewed. You know, bad plays are the best plays.
Kevin Kautzman.
Yes,
From
that
Art of
has
Darkness.
stuck with me, man. Yeah, the best, the worst plays are the best plays. The worst poetry is the best poetry. The worst anything is the best, as long as you've decided I'm going to try to do something true. I'm going to try to do something true. You have to start there, and if you don't, you know, well, you might as well ask for the wall, because what's even the fucking point then? You know, I don't know.
Right.
That's
So
my
I mean,
thought.
your thought is on point. You know, it's very much like the whole like you know, the sincerity, post sincerity thing that what's his name was talking about.
Oh,
You know, the whole idea that Gen Xers were just completely wallowed in irony, and you know, us older millennials also kind of have that everything is ironic. We're not going to try anything. You know, I don't know what Gen Zers do. They just goon in their fucking caves all day. You know, but you know, there is. I mean, when it comes to poetry, right, or any like art that you put out there, right? It's rough because being honest is hard in a way,
Being honest
right?
is
Like
rough. Yeah,
it's like
it's
you're
hard.
putting yourself out there and people are going to read it, they're going to judge it and stuff. And we live in this really weird world where, like I said on last episode, right, the 21st century media form is not the film, it's actually the internet, right? The social media characters, right? Like there's no more
Right.
movie stars, there's TikTok stars, and we're all characters, including us, right? We're using fake names. Actually, my name is not fake. My name is actually Alexander Constantine. Okay, so I doxed myself many years ago, so you guys can lick my balls. I'll ventilate you if you look for me. Okay. Um, Give me a fucking reason to fucking blow your fucking brains off because I live in South Carolina. I can
Make
shoot.
my day. Wait,
I can
would you dare
shoot you.
say
I can shoot you legally here if you cross. Like, look at my fucking house. I can fucking
Oh shit.
ventilate your ass. Okay. I
are
live in
you
the goddamn South, boy.
are you letting them know that you're their Huckleberry?
Yeah,
Are
dude.
we outstanding?
My fucking 6-year-old will fucking cap your ass if you look at my house. Okay. All right.
Playing
So
Fortnite strapped. All
dude,
right.
a
Okay.
she's a beast at
Okay.
Fortnite, man. She's like slaying bodies. I walked in one time into the living room and she was sick. She had like a fever, so she was sitting there like wrapped in like a towel, like half naked, and just cussing at the TV. I'm like, what the hell are you doing there? Right? And she's just like, I just fucking own this motherfucker. I'm like, what the fuck taught you to talk like that? Oh yeah, it's your mom. But yeah, no, but it's like yeah, there's a lack of sincerity, and I think your work, Jasper, in a way, it's insincere, right? The whole project of it is insincere, right, on
Mhm.
its surface, but it's actually the opposite. If you really want to be honest, right, it actually is sincere because it is making fun of an insincere environment. You're basically doing honest you're bringing honest attention to an environment that is a complete and total fucking joke, right?
Yeah.
And once this environment is demolished, then hopefully what follows is true sincerity and true honesty instead of all these make believe pretend bullshit that you know we're inundated with. And this is really an academic problem. The real world, I don't know if you guys who work in academia know this, but there's your world and then there's everybody else, right? The real
Yeah.
world doesn't even pay attention to this shit, right? And the reason it doesn't pay attention to this shit is because it's fake and gay because they made it that way. And that's sad. All
Yeah,
right. You
it
know what I mean?
is. I mean, I have trouble teaching socials now because like all the narratives I have to teach are fake and gay. I'm like, wow, this is not at all how this happened. Like I can prove it to these kids that there's an alternative theory that makes far more sense, but they're probably going to get mad at me if I do this. So I got to hint at it. I got to offer both at least, but then you get reported by colleagues or someone tells their fucking mom and all this sort of shit. So I'm like, oh my God, don't
Right.
make me teach socials anymore.
Right.
Uh,
You're gonna get deported. You're like, I was born here. I'm like, oh, fuck, sorry, dude. You're deported.
yeah, I mean, yeah, if I pulled this kind of shit in real life all the time, I'd get Guantanamo'd pretty fast. But no, I mean, it's yeah, on the surface, it looks like I'm a complete dickhead who, pretended to be an indigenous healer and all this sort of stuff just just to make everyone mad because, oh, I'm a white male who got excluded a couple of times, that kind of shit. I already know what they're going to say to me. But I mean, the other sort of part of the expose at the back and the afterword is I've I've essentially proven that they're kind of killing themselves with this because there's also the part where I sent poems out as white male guy and got a fuckload of rejections, but then I sent those exact same ones out as Adele or whomever and got instant acceptances. So like they're just cannibalizing themselves at this point by imposing these weird restrictions and kind of furthering the irony at the same time. Like they're doing something very bizarre, and I've mostly come to terms with it, but then I just see new iterations and new sort of like layers added on, and you got to constantly keep abreast of all of this. But I guess in the end, Yeah, I would hope that people would arrive at some degree of authenticity after this. I'm not expecting a complete shift. No one makes jokes anymore. Everyone writes about the experience of, I don't know, taking a shit behind the dumpster behind the bar and all that, and they're, you know, being super honest about what drove them to that point, and they're not making a joke about their poverty and all that. There will always be some degree of irony to all of this because it's a very useful and worthwhile aspect of the
Absolutely.
literary industry. But I would just say that if 95% of like the alt lit scene and all that, from what I've seen anyway, novelists and blah blah blah, is just like pure ironic, just drivel. Um, if we're all doing it, then there's really no reason to read more than a couple of these books. Like you're just going to get the same flavor, just with a slightly different plot line, if there even is one.
Right. Everybody
Uh,
wants to be delicious tacos now, you know? It's
yeah, that kind of shit.
right. Which I think he's great, but he should be the only one writing that shit, nobody else.
Yeah, like someone stamps it, they sort of put their stamp on a particular kind of routine or whatever, particular type of book, and that's okay. Then the world has that. They can go out and find it. I make the case that you could probably lose about 50% of all the published material from the last like 10 years and probably lose nothing of value because so much of it is just
No, you're
reiteration.
probably lowballing it.
Oh
Right.
yeah, I mean it might be closer to like 90 at this point.
Right.
Yeah.
So, you know, how do we get here? You know, because like I said, I'm not, how do we get here? How do we get to this point? Like, how do we get to the point where something like your stuff can get public? You know what I mean? Like,
I'm gonna
what the fuck happened?
I'm
You
gonna
know?
defer to I'm gonna defer to Kaczynski and his diagnosis of the problem, where we have been detached from the natural world. We've been detached from any sense of resistance, any sense of if you fuck up, the world will help you find out. And then the next guy is going to write it down so he doesn't die. You know, we've been divorced from that. Essentially, I'm saying we're too comfortable. We're too pampered. We're too taken care of. We literally live in a system that was designed so that the worst things that could ever happen in the world could never happen again. And while that is a noble goal, it attempted to completely quash any sense of risk taking, any sense of doing something dangerous simply because it is dangerous and is worth doing,
Right.
and crushing it into this gruel, this gulag gruel that we now, like Jasper was saying, it's just the same shit published over and over and over and over and over and over again. Can I please have another, sir? You know, that's all this is. And I think when we have people who remember the old ways, remember the old gods, remember the strong gods, remember the I'll dare say the example of Christ and doing something insanely dangerous because it was important and it was worth doing, and giving yourself as a sacrifice to do what must be done. And not necessarily that it's a Christ thing, but just that everyone needs to be what they are. Everyone needs to be who they are. You need to find the essence of yourself and play that out to the end. For good, bad, ugly, fucking do it.
Right.
And you know, it's gonna kill you. And we all get out eventually, you know, that we all gotta go eventually. So it might as well be for the Empire. But
Right.
you know, I'm joking, but I'm also kind of not. Like,
Well,
it's gotta be for
there has to be
something
some
bigger.
meaning to it.
It's gotta be for something bigger. Yeah, exactly.
You know,
Exactly.
I just thought of back in the Uncle Sam's gun club days, right? I was working, you know, just I was just overwhelmed with like administrative nonsense, right? Just like, you know, just fucking reports and bullshit and this and just I was getting to the point where I was like just stressing out, and I had this old salty ass motherfucker that would come by. He'd always give me advice. He was, you know, getting ready to retire, and he's like, man, don't give a shit about any of that stuff. I'm like, what do you mean, dude? I gotta do this shit, right? I'm gonna get fired, dude. I'm gonna fucking, you know. And he goes, think about it this way, man. He's like, yeah, there's like North Korean fucking nuclear missiles fucking flying in this direction right now. What of your task would you actually complete? you know, everything else is fake and gay, right? And I was like, okay, that makes perfect sense. He didn't say that because I was like anachronistic, right? But basically he said that in more than one few words, right? And I was like, you're right, and so much of what we consider like the kind of mainstream or the literature world or the film world and everything is filled with fucking nonsense, man. If shit popped off tomorrow, none of this shit would matter. Like your pronouns and nobody would give a fuck about any of that shit when, they have to gouge out some dude's eyes for a can of tuna that they fucking,
Yeah.
scrounge
We're
out of.
we're three missed meals from good poetry again.
Right, pretty much,
Yeah.
right? You know what I mean? Like when fucking drones run by AI are gonna fucking machine gun you in the streets, the last thing you're gonna give a fuck about is the one-legged Nigerian fucking neo-new Marxist, It's just nobody gives a shit about that, right? A lot of this shit is a side effect. It's a disease of success. It's a disease of cultural stagnation because we're too good. The 20th century was too fucking amazing, for most people that they had time to come up with dumb shit like this, like we're spoiled, and it's really is it's a sin of cultural gluttony, because when I say when that 7.76 bullet's coming at you, you don't give a fuck about any of that shit, nobody does, right? And sadly, I think we're approaching that world where we are going to have to, think about this stuff and really kind of distill our art down to its core, which is, the importance of cultural transmission, and like real important cultural transmission. All right. Anyways, Jasper, I think you're doing fantastic, right? I'm looking forward for more people to read this because this is I'm a fan, dude. Like I'm basically you are my Meowcom X now, okay? Um
Hell yeah.
out so we're getting towards the end because I know you got to get going. That's where we started a little bit earlier today. Um
Sure.
no, basic bitch media, right? You like any you are you a film guy? I know you're friends with Noah. Noah's a movie guy, right? So have you seen
Yeah,
any
yeah.
good movies lately in the greater culture? Anything good?
Oh man, yeah. I've worked let's say with screenplay writers and I've written a couple myself. But I really don't watch much contemporary media. Like it's rare for me to now because I just let's say knowing what I know about the sources of this media, let's say, and things like that, I can't watch it in good faith without some sort of like critical lens at all times. And it just gets to be exhausting. I view it the same way I view poetry and shit too. So I'll usually go back and watch things from like the 80s and 90s or wherever the fuck, or I'll watch movies from like the 30s while I work out late at night. So best movie I've seen recently. Shit. I watched, no, I've been watching Perry Mason.
Like
It's TV.
the old wait, the new one. I know there's a remake of it.
Oh, fuck me. Yeah, of course there is. No, I was watching
The old
Perry
one
Mason.
with Andy
Yeah,
Griffith or whatever. Was that Andy
yeah.
Griffith? Yeah.
It's yeah, fuck, I can't remember the guy's name, but yeah, I'll watch that kind of shit or like movies from the 30s really do it for me, even though they're a bit dry. If they can suck you in, they're actually pretty decent. But yeah, this Honora stuff and all that, I mean,
I haven't seen it either. I did go see Snow White the other day. I thought it was fantastic. No, I'm just joking. I did not go see
I
that. Just no.
100% did not think you were being honest.
Just no. The only movies I go, the only movies I go to in theaters now is like kids movies, right? And my
Yeah,
daughter
yeah.
didn't even want to see that. She goes, "That looks ugly. I don't want to see it." And I'm like, "Okay, cool." But she does want to go see that Minecraft movie, and I'm just like, I'm gonna fucking crash my car before I go do that. So my wife's got it. I tag team her in on that one. It's all her. Minecraft is her. Um, I haven't seen Honora. I like old movies too, but I like French movies. I'm a homo like that. I like those
Yeah,
French
yeah,
movies
yeah.
with Alain Delon and stuff.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
Um, but yeah, nothing too exciting. It feels like we're just like at a weird cultural like dead end, dude. Like we're just like
Yeah.
it's just like a stagnation, you know. And I hope we can break out of it. And I want something exciting. All right. And the reason I ask everybody, like, hey, see anything good lately? Are you like, have you read anything good lately? Like that's new. I want like I'm like dying for something new, you know? I want
Yeah.
something that's like fucking not mainstream, but just out there that I can get excited about. And just there's nothing. There's just it's fucking dead, man. It's like I feel like I've missed the party, dude. You know what I mean? That's what
Yeah.
it feels like, and it's
Hey,
kind of
you're
sad.
telling me you're older than me. You got a bit more of the party than
That's
I did.
true. That's
I was
true.
I was born into the basic like fucking death spire
Yeah.
here. It's yeah, no, like to Fisto's point, like this idea of these Kaczynski and surrogate activities has really just fucked
Mm.
things up where
Yeah.
yeah, we're just so bored that we invent or we attempt to invent new aesthetics, we invent new ways to deprive ourselves of what we should be focusing on, and just it shows up in media and stuff. Now, the Minecraft movie, I'm not gonna go see that myself. I'm not the target audience, but like that one at least seems somewhat harmless. Like kids can go there and just watch those fucking block creatures do their thing. But then you mix that in with Snow White, and it's like as a parent, I guess you gotta now you're filtering so much shit. And if you aren't, you're basically just allowing your kids to
To rot their
engage with
fucking
that.
brain. Yeah.
Yeah, it must be exhausting. I mean, like obviously I want to have kids pretty soon here. But yeah, I mean, if I can't watch movies anymore, like man, they I don't think they're gonna want to watch movies from the 30s with me, but I guess we're gonna
Surprisingly,
find some compromise.
they will. Trust me, okay? I sit down with my daughter and we watch all kinds of crazy movies from back in the day. And she's seen a bunch of shit that, probably inappropriate for her to watch, but she's seen a bunch of stuff, right? And children, young kids are a lot fucking smarter than we give them credit for,
Yeah.
and they
Yeah. The
can,
movies, the movies are fun and honest.
yeah,
So
they
kids
can.
pick up on that and they go, "Oh, this is good. This is a good thing."
Mm.
No, it's interesting because like, like overall my wife is pretty, I guess, mainstream kind of a normie. She's a little bit based, but like for the most part, like, she doesn't have, she's not an Ezra Pound post World War II kind of person. She's not like she's not reading like Celine, or anything like
Oh
that,
yeah,
right? Um, she is reading Lolita right now, but that's very basic. She's at that level. Okay, so she's a Lana Del Rey based level. Okay, we'll give her that, right?
yeah, yeah, yeah.
But one of the things we've always done is we've tried to not influence our child, right? Except through our actions, right? So I don't sit there and I'm not just going on fucking, based rants or like schizoid, like Twitter fucking, screeds around her or anything like that,
Right.
very, very, very normy around that. Plus, she goes to like a fucking private school, and they're all probably all shit libs. So I don't want to get her kicked out because she, or drops, and I don't know, So I have to be careful there, right? Because kids
Yeah.
repeat shit. But so I've always like tried, like for example, when she was growing up, and she's almost 7 now, but when she was growing up, we never made her play with Barbies or something like that. We never went on the shit lib where like, oh, you played with a Barbie, little boy. We're gonna trans you. And then in the same way, I was never like, oh my god, tractors are for boys, blah blah blah. Don't play with them, or any of that nonsense, right? We just kind of
Right.
let her do whatever the fuck she wanted, like So she had guns, swords, and Barbies, and it was great. We just let her do it, and my wife is kind of actually a tomboy. She's never really been a very um, girly girl type of individual. I'm like the spiritual homosexual that likes shopping and all that stuff, right? And yeah, I'm the one that listens to like French yeye music from the '60s and stuff. It's so surprisingly, my daughter is very princess Disney princess kind of girl. All on her own. She loves like nails and like makeup and all the girly stuff. Completely like not influenced by anybody except herself. And sometimes I get shocked. I don't get shocked. I guess like it's great. Is she knows how to read. She's a really well read for a 6.5-year-old. Surprisingly, and she will say stuff that I'm like, oh, well, that's pretty fucking base there. Well, let's just not say that. And the Snow White thing was like an actual thing. She's all like, I never mentioned it. And because every time like a preview came on for it, I could see like. I'm like, fuck, biting my knuckles, right? Like, oh, fuck, goddamn, about to chud out, right? And I can see my wife looking at me, she's like, don't fucking do it. Don't fucking say anything, right? Because she doesn't want me to influence her, to be like, look at that fucking ugly fucking mongoloid, And my daughter's just like, we're in the movie theater. Like, I think we were watching like the Wild Robot, which by the way was a good movie, very good movie, right? And she's like, she goes, that looks fucking, she didn't say fucking, she goes, that looks ugly. I don't want to see that. And I was like, that's right. Based. We don't want to see that. It's horrible, But then she's got horrible taste, the little retard, She likes that movie, that Disney movie with the star or whatever. I was like, God, for real? I'm the worst movie I've ever seen, ever. Like the anniversary movie. I'm like, you got horrible taste for a 6-year-old. Get fucking out of my house. No. But, it's important that, like, you can't be like one of those, like, you can't be a shit lib transing your kid, and you can't be a chudding your kid, like you have to like, I have some friends I have friends from both sides, right? Which is horrible. And I hate all of them, right? Like I hate the parents. I don't hate them, right? Cause they're humans and they're still kind of my friends, but I have a friend that like, Jimmy's got fucking long hair, so he likes to come in. No, he doesn't. He's just a dork. Your kid's just a dork. And then I've got the chud friends that like, give him like a rat tail mullet and shit and like a Trump shirt. And I'm like, you're just as fucking embarrassing as the person that's transing your kids. You know what I mean? Like, I hate all of you. Can you just shut the fuck up and be normal?
Yeah,
that's what people need, right? I think that's how we call people retarded all the time, right? I'm like, just fucking be normal. I'm tired of fucking crazy people, dude. I'm tired of everybody being fucking weird and like their thing. Like, did you ever meet those guys that like, oh, don't touch my hair, it's my thing? No, motherfucker, it's not your thing, okay? Like, it doesn't, shut the fuck up, dude. All right? Did you ever meet those guys that have a thing? Oh, that's my thing. Oh, it's okay. Yeah. Oh, no, motherfucker, it's not your thing, okay? Just shut the fuck up and be normal and get the fuck out of here, Yeah. Anyways, that was my rant for the day. Do you,
perfect.
Most important question, Jasper, have you ever played Cyberpunk 2077?
I've seen the footage. I've seen like Crobecat and all those YouTube channels like just fucking destroy it. I don't know if it's any better now since
it's the greatest game of all time.
It's fantastic now.
The greatest game of all time.
Have they fixed it?
Legitimate work of art. And I don't say that lightly. Legitimate work of art. Yeah. Absolutely. Damn. Especially after the last update in the DLC. Fucking
they fixed
it. Lad. Here we go.
Damn. Now might be the time for me to join in. Now that it's like a 400 gigabyte file.
Yeah. Well, the reason I ask is because you have to ask everybody that comes on the Judy or Panem question. You get to pick two women, and you have to pick one of them. And we have an ongoing debate for the last year and a half.
Alex thinks we do. But we all know that my position is correct. But I amuse him because he's my friend and I like him.
Well, basically, you have to pick between the city Mexican and the road Mexican, right?
Yeah.
And it's
the city is cool. The city is super cool for sure. She's got a little bit of an attitude. Basically programs hookers for a living. And it does all kind of hacker.
She's a pornographer. She's a
hacker.
She's a hacker pornographer. Okay,
hacker pornographer. Okay. While the road lady has a fantastic booty and is a waifu with the raifu. Yeah, so as far as I'm concerned, done.
She's a mechanic.
50 caliber murder machine from Finger of God 3 miles out.
I just like
my babies. I just like my babies.
I like the tatted, sad lesbian. Like
that's fine. That's fine. That's fine.
I just like art hoes, man. I like art hoes. I'm sorry. Okay,
I want my woman to be able to defend a homestead, Chris Kyle style. Okay, that's what I'm saying.
Yeah,
That
but
you know,
you're wrong about everything. Audrey is not better than Donna. Donna's better than Audrey, and it's just like you you probably like Marianne over Ginger.
I think in that case I don't,
Okay, all
because
right.
Ginger. I mean, obviously.
You know who I think is the hottest person on television
Who?
in all history?
Go for
Lu
it. In all
Lu
history. Go.
Lucille Ball. I just have a
Yeah.
thing. I just have
Oh
a thing
yeah.
for Lucille Ball. Okay,
Yeah.
she's one of the only funny women of all time, probably in the history of women. So it's like,
Yeah, Lucille Ball, if I'm remembering correctly, was that not the woman that inspired the Snow White character? Am I misremembering
no,
this?
no, she
Was
was a
Oh, okay.
comedian from the 50s and
Oh,
60s,
okay, okay,
really.
okay.
And
Yeah.
she was in I Love Lucy, and she was married to
Basically invented television
she invented
Oh,
television.
gotcha.
in a
Yeah,
lot of ways. Yeah, she's responsible
responsible
for all
for
kinds
Star
of
Trek.
shows. Yeah, Star Trek was her.
Yeah,
Damn.
She
Yeah.
bankrolled that shit. She's like, Gene, I got you. Here's a bunch of
yeah,
money.
she bankrolled Star Trek. Her and her
It's gonna
husband
be awesome.
Desi Arnaz basically
Yeah, Desi was incredible.
they're like, media geniuses basically, and
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
they were the first ever to so they had the show I Love Lucy, and they did something very innovative. They actually kept the film of the TV shows, because back in the day they would film a live television show, send like cheap copies to all the different networks around the country, and then once they were aired, they would go in the trash. It was never kept. So they
Right.
decided to actually film the stuff on much better stock, like film stock, and save it. And by doing that, they basically invented syndication to where you can watch reruns. So they
Yeah.
revolutionized, they invented the idea of like television replays, and like seasons and that whole thing. And they became really rich, and she died of cancer because she smoked a pack a day or something like that. But she was hilarious.
Damn. Yeah, I
Anyways,
mean, I'll definitely look into her life and all that. But actually, on the point of choosing between women here, because I'm also sort of an art ho type guy, despite the fact that they all write bad poetry and they're generally insufferable past the third month. I'm gonna look up those two choices. I'm gonna write back to you and tell you which one I would prefer
please
after
do.
this.
Please
Yeah,
do. It's a critical, important thing. Okay, like it's basically
yeah,
like you're either on my side or you're on Fisto's side, and he's wrong.
yeah.
But it's
Yeah.
I am in the minority. But you know what? Listen, I will admit it, Fisto. I am in the minority. You know why?
What's
Because
that?
elite taste, sophisticated aristocratic taste is usually a
Mm,
minority trait. Okay.
Look, this will all be settled at the last battle at the end of days. So
True.
I'm more than happy to just wait and
Uh,
let fate take its
All
course.
right, I will give you something. You're right about Audrey. Audrey wins. Okay, so we're all.
She's crazy, man. Are you
But
kidding me?
I like Laura.
Woo!
Laura's number one, but I like her wrapped in
Yeah.
plastic.
Yeah. No, Laura's top tier,
When she
but
goes on her
Audrey,
binge
but
and
she's also dead.
walk,
So
fire walk with me, with
Oh, jeez,
her cocaine binge, that's great.
quality
Anyways,
stuff.
Jasper, thank you for having us on, man. I'm gonna, put the link to Per Ube and Amazon where people can get the
Yes, sir.
ukulele. I can't pronounce it, man. I can't pronounce shit today. Sorry. I had a needle stuck into my spine earlier this morning, right? So I'm in critical.
damn.
I'm like in severe pain, and that thing was like, imagine like the diameter of like a thick pencil lead. That's how it was, like a 16 gauge fucking needle, and they're like, "Oh, it's not gonna hurt." No, it fucking hurt. All right, and I felt it like break into my like spinal column, and I was just not. It was not a
Damn.
pleasant feeling. Okay, so yeah, I'm pretty fucked up right now, but I will definitely share everything, and this is a great episode. Probably, honestly, like one of the funniest ones we've ever done, and serious at the same time, because we laughed, but it's really sad when you think about it, what's going on. You know what I mean? In just the cultural world as whole. And then next week, Fisto, you want to announce what we have next week? Because this is your doing.
Yes. Oh gosh. Yeah.
By the way, I talked to him already.
Good.
Yeah.
I'm super happy. Yeah, next week is very exciting. We're going to have Konstantin von Hofmeister on to discuss his latest book, Multipolarity, the New Emerging Global World Order. Konstantin has a very poetic way of striking at the issues of the day. and it's going to be a terribly fascinating conversation. This is a smart dude, and
Right.
love him, hate him, agree, disagree, doesn't matter. It's definitely worth talking to him and reading his stuff and getting exposed. That's one of the nice things about him, is that he really exposes you to some incredibly complex things that
Right.
are difficult to understand when you are part of the old world that is currently melting into the ether.
Right.
So
And then, the
that's how
book,
I'll say that.
yeah, the book Multipolarity, I finished it just recently, and it's really good. And at first, you think that it's a very kind of a downer book. It's a book is the wrong word to say. It's more of a manifesto of the future,
Yes,
right?
100%. Yep.
And it comes off kind of a downer at the beginning, but ultimately there's a lot of hope in it, and there's a lot of good things, and I'm going to talk about it. So what I recommend is, once you listen to this, guys, if you're going to listen to the next week's episode, go ahead, hop on Amazon, either order it real quick, because it gets, Amazon gets your shit in like 24 hours, right? Or get it on Kindle. Definitely, it's from Arctos Press, Multipolarity by Konstantin von Hofmeister. Read it. It's short, and it's a punch in your nuts kind of manifesto about
Yeah.
future
If
political ideas. I don't
yeah,
agree
for
with
any
everything. I don't agree with
yeah,
everything,
yeah.
right? We're going to disagree
Well,
about some things, right? And I've
here's what I like about it, just real quick. And for anybody that follows my Substack, like, I haven't posted in a while simply because I haven't really had anything to say. And finally, my last post kind of erupted out of it, because it was a lot of these ideas that come from Hoffmeister's book. And I don't know if I necessarily see what he sees over the rest of the world, but I think his America chapter is spot the fuck on.
right. That chapter, blew me away. I even messaged you
Yeah, and
about
this
it. I was
is
like, oh fuck, this
yeah.
was fire, dude.
Yeah,
Yeah.
dude, and that's where my latest thing comes from, and this is why I'm excited for what we're doing on the Black Ibis podcast and the people that we're talking to. Like, Jasper, this is you, man. Like, North America is going to become something.
Yeah.
America is not it. Like, the United States of America, Canada. Like, listen, I'll tell you guys a quick little story if you still have time. But today I got to have a discussion with a kid. He wanted to ask. He was asking me about NATO, and he was asking me about United States, and like, we were talking about global politics stuff. And he asked me what I really thought of the world, and I was like, well, here's what I've been thinking
Oh.
about lately. So I pull up a Google map, and I take out all the borders, I take out all the political things, and I say, look, that is the world for real. These are the borders that God fucking drew. Okay, so whatever we put on there, whatever we decide on, like, I get it, sure, fine, whatever. But at the end of the day, that's it. And then I kind of drew the borders around North America, and and then I kind of showed him the different continents, and I said, here's the border between Russia and China. It's this massive mountain range and all these deserts. And so go back to the North America. What's that going to look like in 1,000 years? The people that are living here, you and me and our grandchildren, and so on and so forth. And this kid's Mexican, like 80% of the kids in my class, like, guys, what's this going to look like? What people are going to inhabit this world? And he's like, whoa, shit, I've never thought of it like that before. I'm like, good. Now you have, and think about it and tell me what you think later on. But
Just make them think.
Yeah, exactly.
And then
look,
you
Yeah.
fucking pushed him down and called him a bitch, right?
I did. Yeah, absolutely. I was like, listen,
Yeah.
fuck. No, I'm kidding.
Yeah.
And my favorite part about this too is that this year I've had so many fellows, so many guys who they clearly do not care about school, and they're 15-year-old young men. All right, we all know what they're caring about.
Yeah,
And it
caring
ain't-
about school is gay, dude.
Yeah, it ain't what but every so often they pause and they're like, yo, can we talk about this? And I'm like, here we go. And then after, they're like, huh, their questions are getting better. So I know they're listening. And I look at them, I'm like, whatever future's going to come, it's up to you guys, and it's up to your kids. I'm done. I'm gone. I've had my shot, and I fucking wasted the vast majority of it.
We're going to
which
transcend.
It is what it
astral
is.
plane. We're going to transcend our wizard selves to the
Yeah,
astral plane.
exactly. That's
And
that's our last hope.
We are leaving it to you, Gen Z.
We're hanging on the edge, right? The Balrog is fallen. We're looking at you going, fly, you fools. Look to us on the return. On the fifth day, look to the sun. Like, that's where Alex and I have got to go.
And
we got to go kill the Balrog.
I might come back as Alex the Rainbow Wizard, but
I was going to say Alex the Gay.
Alex the Gay, the ascended form.
Ascended.
We're going to get banned off of YouTube. We're going to get banned off of YouTube, right? Fuck
whatever.
Nobody
Fuck
listens
them.
to YouTube. Fuck them.
Good.
Yeah,
YouTube.
honestly, fuck them.
What even is YouTube? I don't even know. What even is? I don't even remember what that is.
I'll fight him.
Yeah, exactly.
I don't even click the explicit content thing on our thing because I don't
Really?
fuck yeah.
No, our content
let a
isn't
6-year-old
explicit.
listen to this shit. He needs this shit. Grow
Yeah,
up fucking
exactly.
retarded. You know, and if he's retarded, even better. It's good to know that you're retarded so you can fucking
Look,
control yourself.
I
The
straight
only
up didn't
thing-
even think this would make it to YouTube. So
The only thing,
like, there's
the
no
only
way we're
thing-
gonna.
The only thing that is explicit is the YouTube explicit content button. All right,
Yeah.
that's the only thing that is
Exactly.
really offensive.
Exactly. I actually have it auto, so it gets sent to like Spotify, Apple, and everything automatically. I don't really
that's
even
cool.
look at it. Like I
Good.
made the YouTube account and I just never fucking really touch it.
Can't stop the signal, baby.
Yeah,
just,
it's gonna
just
be
send
out
it out
there on the internet. All right,
Out there on the
Jasper.
internet.
Jasper Ceylon, thank you for coming on, man. There's one great episode. Like every episode is a better episode than the last episode, but keep going back and listen to all the old ones too. If you like this shit, please like, share, subscribe, and all that. You know, or don't. I don't really give a fuck, to be honest. You know, I'm
Fuck
gonna do
yourself,
it
all right?
anyways,
Just
right?
go fuck
But if you
yourself,
really
all right?
like,
Come on.
if you really like us, please subscribe on Substack. That way, you can send us some money because this shit costs money. I was looking at all the stuff I spent, and I spent like $600 so far on this podcast this year when it comes to getting equipment and stuff. So.
Daddy
not-
needs money.
It's
All right,
not
let's go.
free, man. I have habits. I have habits. Like my vape just ran out, right? Like I need. It's rough out here.
I get this man his money.
Yeah, I got my neck punctured and stuff. Do you think that shit's free, dude? That shit costs money to have
Yeah,
some.
he lives in
doctors-
America. That's like
Yeah.
$50,000.
Got no health care. It's like 10 billion. No, I do have health care, right? 'Cause
Do you know
I'm
the
not-
sheer amount of incoming fire we have to dodge every day of our life at all times?
Basically, there's a
I've
gunfight
dodged 5
happen.
RPGs
Yeah.
since this episode started.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
And you guys don't even know because I'm that good.
Yeah,
Okay.
it's fucking rough out here. Anyways, but I love you guys. I love all the listeners. You guys are great. I love all the comments and all the great private messages you guys send me. I really appreciate it. There's a bunch of great shows. One thing we're going to start doing real quick is that I'm going to try to do a just me and Fisto episode once a month because you guys really liked me and Fisto talking, which is really fucking gay, but whatever, you know. If you guys like to listen to just the two of us, we'll start doing those every other month or so or something.
If you guys,
know?
if you guys could dial back on the dick pics, though, that'd be
Oh,
great.
dude,
If we could
please. I have so much
we
gay
could.
porn on my computer, right? And it's just like, I don't need it. Do you like the cowboy picture I posted the other earlier?
I did. That was really nice.
All
Very
right.
tasteful. Very tasteful.
That was actually not just a random cowboy. That was a fantastic musician named, what's his name? Orville Peck, right? And he is fantastic. You should listen to his music. It's great. Anyways, Jasper, thanks a lot, man. Fisto, good night. You know, guys,
Yeah.
have sweet dreams or don't. Do ketamine or whatever. You know, stay up all night. I don't know. Do
Fuck yeah.
whatever. Write poetry, right? Of all
Yeah.
kinds. And see you guys next week with Constantine Hoffmeister. All right.